In this sequence of videos, we're going to discuss angles. An angle is simply two rays. So a ray you can think of as just an arrow. So I've drawn a ray here, joined at a common vertex. So these are two rays, and they are joined at the vertex right there. So this would be an angle that I've drawn. In this class, though, we'll focus on angles which have their vertex at the origin of the xy plane, and their initial side, that is the first side, will be along the x-axis. So the angles that we see in this class will look something like this. The side which occurs on the x-axis is called the initial side. The other side is called the terminal side. And the vertex occurs at the origin. And again, we say that this is an angle in standard position. So when the initial side is on the x-axis and the vertex is at the origin, the angle is in standard position. Something else that's typically included in the drawing of an angle is some indication of how to get from the initial side to the terminal side, drawing this arc that I've just drawn. Because depending on how you get from the initial side to the terminal side, that will represent a different angle. So in this case, I have gone from the initial side to the terminal side by rotating counterclockwise. However, you could get to the initial side from the initial side to the terminal side by rotating clockwise as well, and that would be a different angle. If you rotate counterclockwise, we say that angle is positive. So positive angles rotate counterclockwise. So that would be my first example, the yellow one, which I'll bold in here. And a clockwise rotation results in a negative angle. So the other blue angle is a negative angle. So negative angles rotate clockwise. Now there are a couple different ways to measure how much rotation an angle has, but before I talk about that, I think it would be wise to introduce some Greek letters, some lowercase Greek letters, which is typically the notation we use for the measurement of an angle. So theta is represented by this Greek symbol, theta. Phi is represented, I will almost always draw phi as I've just drawn it, but you will also see it as this symbol as well, and this indeed would be phi. Alpha is this symbol. Beta we have here, and finally gamma. Handwritten gamma looks as I've just drawn it. So this is gamma. But in text, it looks something more like this. Maybe I can do a little bit better. Something like that. So all of these symbols are typically used to represent measurements of angles. So you may see something later on, such as an alpha here to indicate that this is angle alpha, or perhaps you'll see a gamma here to indicate that this is angle gamma. And I think I'll just mention there are books which use capital letters something like A, B, and C to represent angle measurements, but I will not use this convention. It is much more common in mathematics and sciences to see the lowercase Greek letters, but just know that some books will use the uppercase letters.